Okay, so this is my flip-flop keyring cutting file. So I've cut the 3 elements to save some time. So I've cut the base of the keyring from vinyl or faux leather, and then the 2 elements of heat transfer vinyl. One in this kind of greeny teal colour, which I'm hoping is going to match the base vinyl, and the other in silver. So I'm just going to start to weed away the heat transfer vinyl, and the cutting file is all in order for you. So I cut my vinyl or faux leather right side up on the mat, and then heat transfer vinyl you need to cut right side down on your mat. So these 2 elements have been flipped already in the cutting file for you, so that when you put this onto your mat shiny side down and then you flip it over, they're going to be in the right orientation to press onto the vinyl. So I'm just going to peel this away. So that's the 2 elements for the first layer, and then for the second layer, these are the next 2 elements. You can cut these apart. Don't be tempted to cut them this way, because these have been positioned to line up perfectly to press onto your vinyl. But you can cut them apart horizontally, like so, and the same with these 2 sections. So I'm just going to move those out of the way because they're really sticky. Now, because I'm layering vinyl, I'm going to be pressing this a couple of times. So I've set my heat press up for 265 Fahrenheit for 10 seconds. Just going to bring in another mat because I've warped my blue mat slightly. So I don't want to make it any worse. So I'm just bringing in an old cutting mat and my Easy Press Cricut heat pad. So I'm going to bring the first piece of the heat transfer vinyl and I'm going to position it. Just make sure I've got the right pieces because I did flip these. So yeah, that looks okay. So I'm going to position this over the vinyl. Then I'm going to bring in a piece of parchment paper. I'm going to bring in my Easy Press that's already heated up, and I'm going to press this for 10 seconds. Just bring this up a little bit more, and then just wait for this to cool. Now that looks as though it's lifting, so I'm going to give it a bit more pressure and a bit more heat, and then I'll let it cool down, and then I'll peel it away and I can do its opposite side. And if you can hear any noise, it's Eddie. Every time I go either on the phone or go to record a video, he turns into a naughty child and either starts running around or he grabs a bone and starts gnawing away at one of his toy bones. So if you can hear anything in the background, it's him. So I'm going to peel that away now. So that's one side done. I'm going to turn this round and I'm going to do the other side. I'm just going to hold that in place while I put the parchment paper on top. And then press and give it some firm pressure. Just let that cool a bit of my mat. Peel this away. And then now I'm going to add the next section. So I'm just going to place that down just to make sure it's the right one. I think it is. So I'm going to position this onto here, cover it up and give it another 10 seconds. It wants to come away, so I'm just going to give it a few more seconds and a little bit more pressure. Now, normally you wouldn't lay a vinyl on top of vinyl, but these are not going to go in a washing machine. So, you know, you can probably get away with it doing it like this. If it was clothing, I wouldn't put glitter heat transfer vinyl on top of other glitter heat transfer vinyl. Also with heat transfer vinyl, I would normally heat it at a lot higher temperature, but because I'm layering it onto the vinyl and I'm double layering it, that's why I've taken the temperature down. So that might be another reason why it's taking its time to adhere. I'm just going to move it onto a colder part of the mat and let it cool down. In fact, what I could probably do is put the other one on while I'm waiting. So put that one on and cover it up and apply the heat just to this one. I'm going to let that fully cool and then try and peel it away and see if it sticks. There you go. So it needed more heat because that's peeled away fine now. So before I do anything else, I'm just going to flip it over and I'm just going to give it some heat from the back just to make sure that all those layers do stick together. That's how it's looking. So I'm just going to move that out of the way and just position this on here. Now, obviously the vinyl's going to get warm. If you find it rippling or bending, put it onto something cold and put a weight on top of it to let it cool down, and then it will go completely flat. Mine's fine, but you know, just if it starts to bend a little, just do that. So now I'm going to bring in my ring and I'm just going to fold this and feed this through. And then it's just a case of folding this over and gluing it together. Now, if you forget to put the ring on, don't worry, because you can open the ring and feed it through, but it's easier if you do it at this point, and then you've not got any risk of, scratching or damaging your vinyl. So I'm just going to put two of these pieces of the carrier sheet together, and so that I've just got a slick surface. And I'm just going to bring in the nozzle on my fabric adhesive is all bunged up. So I'm just going to dispense a bit of adhesive on this plastic, and then I can just throw it away when I've finished with it. Then I'm just going to bring in one of my palette knives, pick up some of this adhesive and start to spread it just on one side of the flip-flops. Now, you don't want to put any glue in this bridging section because that's obviously where this ring is going to be. So you don't want any glue there. Try and get as close as you can to the edge without going over, because when you press this together, it will squish some of that adhesive out. And I'm going to put this under a heavy weight. And what I probably will do is wait till my Easy Press completely cools down, and then I'll sit that on top of it as the weight to help combine both of these layers together. So then you just need to fold this over, line it up, make sure your edges are all, be gentle at this point because obviously it's slippery with all that adhesive. Just put it together, and this is obviously how it's going to look back and front. And then what I will do, like I say, I will leave this probably on this mat, and then when my Easy Press has cooled down, I'll put my Easy Press on top of it, leaving this section of the ring out so that the only pressure is on this section. And I'll do that when my Easy Press has completely cooled down, and that way it should keep it completely flat and it should bond those two layers together. Anything heavy that you can put on it just to keep it flat. So I'll come back when that's done, and then it's just a case of putting, I've got some tassels, so it's just a case of applying the tassel to this ring. You can see how that's all going together now nicely, but with some weight on it, it will all fuse together as one. But look how lovely that looks. And that's just, you know, not a lot of vinyl, very little heat transfer vinyl. You know, make yourself a nice keyring or make them as gifts to give away. To give you an idea of size, it's about 3.5 inches from the top of the fold to the bottom, and it's about 2 3/4 inches wide. So it's a decent size. Anyway, the cutting file is available in my cutting file shop here on my Apple Lover 53 website. You just go to the Scan and Cut tab and then scroll to cutting files. And I have got more of these keyring designs that I'm going to be putting together. So I'm going to create a category that's going to be called keyrings, and they'll all go in there. So if you want to filter by category once you're on my website, just go over to the left where it says filter by, and then it says things like boxes and bags, cards, etc. and look for keyrings and they'll all be in that section. Anyway, I hope you liked the video, I hope you liked the project, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.